Okay, so let's dive right in. We all have this portrait of ourselves that we carry around in our heads, right? It's not something you hang on a wall, but it is, without a doubt, the most important picture you'll ever see, because it literally shapes your entire reality. Today, we're going to explore that internal blueprint, our self-image. So, let me just ask you straight up, how do you really see yourself? I'm not talking about who you pretend to be or who other people think you are. I mean the person you see when it's just you, alone with your thoughts. That view, that internal look in the mirror, is absolutely critical. Because that internal portrait, it dictates your choices, it colors how you see the world, and ultimately it decides your sense of self-worth. When it's healthy, it's like this incredible anchor. But when it's damaged, well, it can put your entire sense of who you are in jeopardy. To really get this, we're going to look at a very high-stakes, very public case study. That's a quote from Selena Gomez. She was talking about a time when her own internal portrait was just completely fractured. She was watching her own documentary and saw a version of herself she couldn't even connect with anymore, someone just consumed by pain. Her journey is a really powerful lesson in what happens when that image cracks, and, more importantly, how you can start to rebuild it. So let's start right there. Section 1. When the portrait cracks. How does this thing that's so essential to us become so fragile? First, let's get on the same page about what we're talking about. Self-image isn't some static thing. It's a living, breathing portrait. It's constantly being shaped by our wins, our losses, the people around us, and of course, that little voice inside our heads. Think of it like a story that's always being written, not some fixed snapshot. And that story, man, it is under constant attack. For someone like Selena, those pressures were magnified like 1,000 times over. You've got the external pressure to look perfect, especially when you grew up as a Disney kid. Then there's the internal pressure, that intense self-criticism. In our world today, we all feel what's called the tyranny of comparison, and it can so easily knock you off your own path. It leads to what the source calls self-abasing thoughts, basically just constantly putting yourself down. And this can lead to a really hidden battle that so many people face: high-functioning depression. On the outside, you look like you're crushing it. You're capable, you're getting things done, you look successful. But inside, every single win feels hollow, superficial. Selena talked about this. She said she wanted people to know she wasn't all put together because she never wanted anyone to look at her and think, wow, she has it all figured out. And this quote, this just shows you the personal cost. She's talking about how her broken self-image made her obsess over her body and appearance. You can hear the pain when she says she hates that she ever felt those things. It's a feeling that comes from this huge gap between her public image and her private reality. The portrait was definitely cracking under the strain. So, how do you even start to fix it? Well, that brings us to Section 2, the self-compassion antidote. This is the first and honestly probably the most important tool for rebuilding. It's the antidote to that poison of constantly blaming yourself. I mean, just look at the difference here. That column on the left, self-criticism, that's your inner prosecutor, just constantly pointing out every little flaw. But the column on the right, self-compassion, that's more like your inner friend. It's not about pretending you don't have weaknesses, it's about accepting your whole self. It's not about letting yourself off the hook, it's about changing the tone of that voice in your head from judgment to support. And this quote, this is that shift in action, right here. Selena isn't fighting her diagnosis. She's not trying to fix it or wish it would go away. Instead, she's learning to live with it, to understand it, and in her own really powerful words, to make it her friend. That is the essence of self-compassion. You stop fighting yourself and start accepting yourself. You can almost break her process down into 3 steps. First, you just have to acknowledge it. Whatever it is, the diagnosis, the feeling, the struggle, stop running from it. Second, learn everything you can about it. She said this goes back to advice her mom gave her as a kid. She was terrified of thunderstorms in Texas, so her mom bought her all these books about weather. The idea was when you understand something, it gets a lot less scary. Selena did the exact same thing with her mental health. And finally, through all that understanding, you can make it your friend. It becomes part of your story, not some enemy you have to defeat. Okay, so you've started to change your inner world with compassion. What's next? That brings us to Section 3, Rebuilding with Integrity. If self-compassion is about how you treat yourself on the inside, integrity is about making sure your actions on the outside line up with your values. It's the second big pillar of a strong self-image. Integrity is really just about being whole, being undivided. It means what you do, what you say, and what you believe are all in sync. Real self-worth isn't built on what you accomplish, it's built on how you accomplish it. You know, if your achievements feel empty or fake, it's often because there's a lack of integrity at the core. So the big question is, how do you actually do this? For Selena, it meant taking back control of the fake stories people were telling about her. But instead of getting angry or defensive, she decided to fight back with her truth, which was all about kindness and love. She decided her actions were going to reflect her core value of being a good person, no matter what anyone else was saying. And believe me, this isn't just talk. This is her integrity in action on a massive scale. As part of her beauty line, Rare Beauty, she started the Rare Impact Fund. The goal? To raise $100 million for mental health services for people who really need it. She connected her business directly to her deepest personal mission. That is what it looks like when your work and your values become one and the same. So practicing integrity really boils down to these kinds of behaviors. It's about sticking to your principles even when it's hard. It's taking control of your own story, just like she did. It's resisting those easy, superficial wins that don't really mean anything to you. And when you do that, you set an example and you make sure that your accomplishments actually feel meaningful. And that brings us to our conclusion. Section 4, an unfinished masterpiece. Because a healthy self-image isn't some destination you just arrive at. It's an ongoing process. It's a work of art that's never truly finished. Here's the thing. The real measure of a strong sense of self isn't that you never fall down. It's not about being perfect or flawless. It's all about resilience. It's about your ability to get back up after you've been knocked down by failure, by criticism, or even by your own inner demons. That ability to bounce back, that's the real superpower. And this right here, this is what resilience sounds like. After everything she has been through and everything she's shared, Selena still sees her story as incomplete. There's this openness, this hope, this acceptance that there are more chapters to come. Some will be good, some will be tough, but the story goes on. That is the voice of someone who has folded her past into her story without letting it define her. So, if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Building and taking care of a healthy self-image is not a one-and-done kind of deal. It is a daily practice. It's a constant, conscious choice to treat yourself with compassion and to act with integrity. It's a verb, not a noun. It's something you do every single day. Which really just leaves us with one final question for you. Your self-image is your story, and you are the one writing it every single day. So, what will you choose to build it with? Will it be compassion, integrity, resilience? The blueprint is yours to design.